I think 5 minutes. Let's say 19:45, then we will see if there are other guys that joined.
Okay, I'll let you know if they respond as well on this side.
Okay.
If
No,
they say anything, but let's keep on waiting.
all right. No, that's fine. Okay. Oh, okay, guys. I think I see that someone managed to join in, so I think we can just continue. The other guys, they will see from the recording, or maybe they can just, when they join in, they will manage to they will
Yes,
manage to,
there is one that says they're still traveling. They
okay.
will catch from the recording.
All right, so that's great. I think the recording will help the other guys. I
Yes.
think the 7 remaining guys, so it's fine. I think let's just continue from where we left last week, and then we see how where it will get us today. Okay, I see another person joining in. Okay, no, that's good. All right, so so we last time we finished where I think we ended where, all right. Okay, so let me just share the question paper. That question paper. Just confirm if you see your assignment, right? If you see your assignment there.
Yes, I can see it on my side.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So okay, I'm just fixing something. Let's see. Okay. All right. So question 3 and 4, that's what we're going to do today. So let me just copy this question 3, right? No, it's okay. It's okay. I think you just catch up from the recording figures one. It's fine. No worries. We are recording this session. So any other time when you get free time, you can just revisit it, and then all will be okay. All right. Okay, that's fine. So let me share. So let me start reading the question through, right? So a management information system does not exist in People's Choice Bank, right? Management at the bank are confused regarding the functions of an MIS and the DSS. Provide a report to manage, highlighting any 5 key differences between the implemented MIS and the soon to be installed data-driven. Okay, so also they're saying an MIS does exist, okay? Saying it doesn't, so it does exist. So they want to say the differences between MIS and the soon installed data-driven DSS. So if you come to realize there's actually a section in your study guide that has got just a glimpse of information regarding this. Okay, so let me okay, DSS. So when you go check in your study guide, I'm not going to take you through almost everything, right? While you're searching, I'm just going to take you where I see that it's really valuable, right? All right. Yes. So this part here. So there's a question that they've asked. The lecturer is managed to put as part of your study module, right? It's just saying what is a decision support system, a DSS, and how does it differ from a management information system? How does it differ from MIS? So roughly, this is just maybe the answer, right? So this part of it. But like I said, you need to remember this 25 marks. I think this whole information is just worth maybe like 3 to 4 marks. So we really need to build, but at least it can give you an idea. You remember last time when we were saying that your study guide is the frame on which you're going to be building your entire masterpiece, right? So let's go to the Word document. All right, so I think you can see this. So remember when we are starting, so we're just using all the concept that we were using last week, right? So we have introduction, we've got your body, and we've got your conclusion. Right. So your introduction now, remember those concepts that we were telling you, right? I'm not going to go deep into that because I'll just be repeating myself. So introduction, it has to be at least 4 lines in length, and then you must start maybe by defining and so forth. If you want to put in-text references, it's up to you, but it's just good practice if you don't, because it allows your information to be when someone is viewing it, the flowability will be good. So now let's let me just put my introduction, right? The one that I would have put, right, if I was a student. And by the way, like I showed you last time, I managed to do what do you call it, some things in the background. All right, so just give me a moment, because I just want to show you something. All right, so this will be my introduction, right? So okay, let's put in Arial so that people can see. All right, so now I'm starting by defining maybe what MIS and what DSS are, right? So I'll start by saying the primary distinction between management information systems and DSS is that the former supports organized decision, while the latter enables what unstructured or semi-structured decision. So it's still okay to start the introduction like this, right? Where you are trying to bring out the differences, but not in depth, right? But maybe in a short nutshell. So you can you can put a statement like this, or you can do this. Let me put something again. Yeah, let me just remove this. Or you can start by defining what MIS is and what decision support system is, and then you tell the reader, right? You tell the reader what you are about to do in that that assignment. So now in this case, you can see that management information system, what it does is it delivers, right? It delivers information such as reports to managers to help them make important choices, right? And then it benefits the organization operational and tactical levels, and it mostly aids in organized decision making, right? Whereas now a decision support system is a system that delivers information to managers who are making decisions. And it helps with unstructured and semi-structured decisions. So this is how I would have written it. Then you say in this essay, right? I will provide a report, right? Okay. Just repeating this stuff. a report to management. Right? I will provide a report to management, blah, 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 blah. So you are done with your introduction. The next thing now is you're going to your body. Remember, we are going to talk about 5 key differences. So we need to come up with what? With five differences. So the approach that I used now, right? The approach that I used first is you need to give in-depth definitions. So before you go to five what? Right, you start by definition of the key concepts because you need to explain what MIS is in depth. Though we did it here, but you also need to do it in depth, right? So like in this case, let me start by defining an MIS, which is Management Information System. So here I'm explaining what it is and how it's used, right? I think some of the things we talked about it during the introduction, right? And then decision. DSS. So this is information about the DSS. So I'm starting with what? I'm starting with definitions, so that at least the reader can have an idea of what I'm talking about, right? So that the reader can have an idea of what I'm talking about. So this is so they might give you marks or they might not give you marks for this because they are not marking the definitions, rather they are marking the key differences. But like I said, you want to bring out a point that you really know what you are doing and you want to present it in a very nice way. So giving definitions would give a good start. Then, excuse me, then now let's look, just forgive me guys, I think I'm just having a little problem of having hiccups. So just forgive me if it interrupts. Trying to drink some water here so that I can stop it. So just
no problem. All
right, thank you so much. So the first difference that we're going to talk about is the primary tasks. Because obviously they were already using MIS, right? So now that they want to implement, what do you call it? DSS. It means that there is a certain function that is within DSS that MIS maybe is not living up to. You see, so let's start to see the first difference in terms of primary tasks, right? So the difference between MIS and DSS is that MIS is a primary level of decision making, where DSS is the ultimate and the main part of the decision of the decision. So basically, if we had what we call the hierarchy of managers, when you get to an organization, they've got what they call a hierarchy, the organizational structure. Basically, that's what it is. So you can see that the hierarchy is more like in form of a pyramid, where at the base, they've got what they call the operational managers. At the middle there, they've got what they call middle managers. And then at the top, they've got what they call the top managers. So the top managers are the executives. So those are the ones normally that use the DSS. Then the ones at the middle management are the ones that use MIS to a certain extent. So that's why they are saying MIS is the primary level of decision making, but DSS now is the ultimate, because the guys that are responsible for making the decision at the top rank, these are the ones that use DSS, right? Whereas now management, now it assists most of the managers in trying to dissipate that decision that comes from the top. They try to maybe to design, integrate it, and then they try to share it with the other guys that are below them, right? So MIS is all about theory, right? Whereas DSS is all about practice and analysis, right? So you come to realize that the fundamental goal of DSS is to deliver information, right? Not to the consumer, right? I think this was just a mistake, right? Was to deliver information, right, to the executives, right? Like I told you, right? That the guys at the top management are the ones basically that use the DSS. So if they are to be very effective when it comes to making decisions, right, they have to use DSS. Yes, to a certain extent, management information system allows, but it's a primary level. It's not the ultimate level. So if they want a package that can really help them with ultimate decision-making processing, then they've got to go for DSS, right? So generally, that is the difference between what the difference between the difference between the tasks, right, of what of DSS and what and MIS, right? So that's the first difference there. So let's look at the second difference, which is the data.
Okay. Sorry, can I quickly ask a question?
Yes.
Would I be correct to say MIS provides information to make decisions, although DSS assist in making the decision?
Yes. That's correct. That's actually correct, because MIS cannot assist. It provides, just like the way you put it out is so perfect.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. So I think I'm not so sure if DSS has got some maybe, excuse me, if it has some maybe some machine learning or some artificial intelligence with it, but it actually assists. It can actually assist with the decisions. I think it might actually be better.
Okay. In other words, it's also semi-robotic.
Yes.
Semi-robotic. It's more intelligent than the MIS.
Exactly. So it's more intelligence. That's why it brings out the issue of artificial intelligence. That's why you see. That's why you see most of the people, they are afraid that robots will take the future, right? The reason why they're saying they're afraid that robots might take the future is because robots, they don't make mistakes. Let me just give you an example. There was a robot, more like a machine, that was created by guys from Google. They call it the game. They call it the machine. They called it Go. So it's a board game, just like chess, but it's a Chinese board game, like chess. So what they did is they created code on a machine, on a laptop, that can play with a human being without being assisted. And guess what? Out of 5 games, I think the computer won 4 times. 4 out of 5 playing with a human being. So it had to learn like a child. That's why they call it machine learning, because it has to learn like a child. But once it learns now, it's different from a human, because a human forgets. But once the machine learns now, it will never lose its memory. So that's where now we are saying it's super intelligent. The intelligence that these machines have are way better than the intelligence that us humans have. So that is the same concept that they took and put in DSS now. That's where now it assists. Because where people are trying to brainstorm, they might not be seeing a certain view, and then DSS comes and says, the perfect decision that you're supposed to make is this one, and it will be correct. So thank you so much for bringing that up. That is That is correct. All right. So let's look at the data, right? So MIS takes in a big amount of information, right? And returns a streamlined report. So you take a lot of information and then it processes it and then it comes out as a report. Whereas now, DSS, it generates decision analysis from relatively small data sets. So like what I was trying to tell you, that maybe it will be learning in process. Okay, say, okay, it takes a small data, then it analyzes. It says, okay, it takes another chunk of data, it analyzes up until now. When it analyzes all the facets of the data, then it can say, definitely, this is the right decision to make. All right. So MIS assesses and analyzes and processes data within an organization to provide meaningful and valuable information, right? So what it does is, when you put in the data, which is a big amount of data, rather than the small chunks of data that DSS takes, it then processes it so that it can bring out meaningful and valuable information. So this information is basically, it's not information that is used in decision making. It's just information maybe that can give you an idea to make a rough analysis of maybe what you would want to say at that particular time, but that information will not help you maybe to make a decision. But DSS now, right, what it does is it is a specialized way of collecting, organizing, and summarizing information data to aid in decision-making process. So at the end of the day, the data that it is analyzing, right, it is analyzing that data in order to make decisions, right? So that's the difference between the two. So MIS, it just analyzes, assesses data, right, just to give meaningful and valuable information. But now, decision support systems, it takes small chunks of data, so that through that data, through the data it collects and organizes, it will allow to make decisions from the data that it has itself. So generally, DSS, it takes in raw data, it transforms it into an actionable intelligence that guides managerial decision making. So that is the difference now between the two when it comes to how they relate with the data. So MIS takes in big amount of information, then it returns a report. DSS now, it just takes in a relatively small data sets, but that data now will be, it will be raw, and then it is transformed into some intelligence which will guide managerial decision-making system. That's why we're talking about artificial intelligence, because it's now another intelligence that will be used by the system to what? To to analyze. All right, so let's look at
sorry, Sanjay. I just have a question. So I understand the MIS and DSS then, which is clear. Yeah, what I'm struggling with is like, after you've got this extract, just look at data and you got the extract, then you got the reference Holst 2020-19.
yeah.
Is the expectation to go and read like hundreds and hundreds of books and pull out just relevant statements and paste it in here and reference it back? Is that the objective? Because I'm finding that to be the hardest, because the content, you understand it and you can write to it, but obviously it's
Okay.
you know, like, because I notice everything has a reference back to like an author, and it ties back to something.
Yes.
And I'm just worried, like, you know, we'll go and put the correct content, but we're not going to be referencing properly and will be marked down. That's the thing that bothers me the most.
Okay, so if I'm getting your question correctly, it's on research where you get the information.
Yes, yeah, and I've went to Google Scholar and I've went to all, and maybe I'm just very inexperienced, but it seems like people are just like, because I've seen other examples as well where there's a statement that is back to a reference, and there's one or two statements applying the case study, but a lot of it is just relevant stuff, but from various different books. Like just in this screen that I'm seeing, there's this Samimi, that's one, then there's Holst, then there's Alexandra. I don't know if the other students are having a similar type of concern or problem.
Okay, so generally, I don't know. Last week were you present in the?
I was there. Yeah.
Okay, so generally, when you are attempting the IKM, what do you call it, assignment, right? So like in this one, here you can generalize. You might not put like the PCB bank inside, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, you can put where you are just saying maybe here, let me see where the primary task, right? You can say that, okay, let's use data here, right? You can just say MIS when it is being used, right, by PCB management, right? You can just say when it is being used by PCB management, right?
Yes.
It takes in big amount of information because what I want you to understand is this information is not there in your study guide, right?
No.
That's the reason.
Yes. I've seen that. It's definitely not in the study guide. Yeah.
Yes. So what it means is you are now going to what do you call it? You are now going to find information somewhere else using external sources. So what you do now is, that's where I think last week I explained to you, and I said that's the reason why when they are giving you due dates, right, they give you time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, because they know that the information that you're going to, even if you know this, like I said, a normal assignment for MBA, it must be at least 5,000 words and above. So even if you know with your head, right, I don't think you will populate all the questions from the head. So what they are testing you, they're not testing you of knowledge, because remember this, they have already taught you in class. So some of you guys, they have grasped it and everything, but they will be testing you of research skills. Are you able to go and research? You see, so your issue might be you would have maybe checked on Google Scholar, you might have checked on maybe other sites, and you might not be finding information, right? So that's maybe one of the things that they will be testing you. So let me just try to see
like if you give me an example like this, Alexandra 2018-35, how did you search and get that statement out of the book?
Yes, that's what I was about to show you.
Okay, sorry.
That's what I was about to show you now.
Sorry, I know maybe you can do this at the end of the class. I don't know to.
No. That's actually part of the assignment. No, actually, the reason why I was skipping this is because I thought last week when I showed you, remember last week when I was starting?
Yes.
I was starting and I was saying first to check the study guide, and then you then go to research guide and so forth. So the reason why I was not repeating today, because what is much more important is I wanted to give you information.
Okay.
So
I've been to research. I've been to ResearchGate, I've been to Emerald, and they all have like other people's thesis, but I can't find stuff from within textbooks.
Yes, and the other thing is it's the technique at which maybe you are researching.
Okay,
Yes.
maybe if you could show me an example and then
All right.
of how you, and then we.
Okay, so let me see.
Yeah.
The problem with me now is ResearchGate might not be what do you call it? That's the only main portal that I normally.
Okay, so you do get it from there. Okay.
All right, so the reason why I do like this, I don't go to ResearchGate directly, because when you say ResearchGate on Google, and then when I use this search field here,
Google within it, the website.
Yes. So normally Google will bring them here rather than when you go on the site, because when you go on the site, normally most of them might not be free, might be request.
I saw that. Yes, I saw that. Okay. See,
Yes,
this is all right. Okay.
Yeah, so this one might bring out some that are free. So like in this case now, let me see, what am I sharing here?
Just say DSS. You can just say DSS versus MIS or something, or DSS.
Okay. So if you do like that now, because remember, that's where I wanted to show you that sometimes it has to be the keywords that you use. Because sometimes when you might not bring out certain keywords, certain information might not come out. So you really need to be playing with certain words for certain information to come out. That's the thing now that they are testing you. Are you able to use your research skills to get the information? Because they know the information is there, but they want you now to get, or maybe to sharpen your skills to such an extent that you are able to what to research. So let's go back to the question, right? The question is talking about the differences between MIS and DSS, right? So there are two ways of approaching this. You can say, right, differences of MIS and DSS. You can just generalize it. Or let's not start by generalizing. Let's go into banking. You see, because remember, it's in a bank, right? So let's start by being too specific. Differences of MIS and DSS banking, right? Let's see if there is so you can see that here there's the row of MIS, and we don't know, but we can see from here that there's MIS and DSS, right? So let's open. So once, if you go on ResearchGate, if you see something like PDF like this, it means that it is free.
Yeah, I've seen that. I got a couple of those. Okay.
Yes. So the role of MIS and DSS for managers decision-making process. So I think we might get information from this. So the reason why they give you more time, like I said, I might not have time to read this to show you.
Yeah.
So that's where now the issue of deadlines now they give you comes in, because they want you to go read this what you might not read, like maybe like, you know, what do you call it, you know, the whole document, but at least you can just maybe browse through, right?
Yeah. So let's assume point number 3, the one I just scroll up. So let's just assume that is now relevant. There are many definitions for MIS. Do I then copy that out up until Watson 1987, or do I reference this? Do I reference this article as a reference, or do I put Watson 1987?
No. So what you are doing now, even this guy, when they were writing, this information is maybe here, from here to there, or maybe this statement here. This statement, it's supposed to, unfortunately, I'm not so sure what's happening. Is it my computer? Let me see that this cutting, is it my computer? Okay, yeah, it's actually my computer. All right. So you can see that from, unfortunately, let me see. Okay. So just forgive me.
We can see.
You can see, okay. If
Yeah.
you can see. So starting from this, let me just highlight. So starting from it supports the planning control operations. It means that this statement that he is writing is not his.
Yeah.
Right. So what it means is he went and read Waston, right? But he's not copying what Waston wrote and putting it in his in his paper. What he's doing is he read and he wrote it in his own words.
He paraphrased it. Okay.
But he had to acknowledge that this is not my knowledge. I got it from someone. Because if he just copies and pastes it, they call it plagiarism.
So if I find the statement now and I want to put it into my assignment, do I put Watson 1987 as that is, maybe change the wording a bit, or do I copy this and reference this article?
Now,
what do I cite?
What you do now is you are no longer quoting Waston because you are not getting it from Waston.
Okay.
You're getting it from here. So what you are going to do is, though he had to quote it from Waston, but remember, he's not copying it word to word. So there might be a possibility that he added some certain things that Waston did not do, but Waston brought out the thought of the statement.
Yes.
Yes. So now, when you want the same statement, what you do is you're going to rephrase. You don't copy and paste as it is. You rephrase it in your own words, but you have to acknowledge these guys. That according to Asemi et al. 2011, they said this in your own words. Because you are taking it from their journal. Though they took it from another guy, but you didn't read that. You read it from this journal. Acknowledge this guy.
So how do I cite it? Do I put the Asemi and then open brackets 2011 and then the page number?
Yes, that's the way that I've done it in the document that I'm showing.
All right. Okay. See, that's what I was wondering, because I think a lot of people are just copying the statement and they referencing the original author.
The Trinity will come with like 70-something percent because it will pick it up.
Okay.
It will pick it up. Yeah.
Okay,
so you can say, they might not, the Trinity will pick it up.
Okay, so, I got you.
Yeah, so that's the reason why we tell you that when you read it, rephrase, because we know it will pick it.
Okay.
Without a shadow of doubt, that we know. it will.
Okay.
Officially now, I'm not so sure if the Turnitin will reflect before you submit, or it will go into the system, and then when your lecturer, when he's marking now, they will see, because the danger of it is if you don't fix it, if maybe the Turnitin you don't get the report, or maybe the report gets to the lecturer, the bad part of it is they will see that you didn't research. You just copied and pasted. So it might affect a lot of things, you see. So what you would rather do is, when you are getting your information, rephrase. That's why I'm saying there's a lot of time. You research, you rewrite in your own words, and then you acknowledge the guys.
So the right thing for us to do is take the statement you've highlighted, rephrase it, and acknowledge the author of this article, and don't mention Watson 1987 at all.
You don't. So even if you take a lot of statements from this study from this journal, just replace them and acknowledge the guys. These ones.
Okay, great. And they said a minimum of 15 references. Did that mean 15 different journal articles, or 15, or like 2 or 3 references can be from one journal like this?
Okay, what you do is your reference list must have at least 15 different. That's what I'm saying. These guys, they are training. They don't want to see your knowledge. They know the knowledge you have it, but they want to see your research capability. So they want you to go and find at least 15 different articles, not only 15, but within the period, within the latest 5-year period. So which means it's starting from 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, I think 2017, from 2017. So it doesn't have to be any journal. It has to be journals within the 5-year period. So they want you to research. That's what I'm saying. They give you enough time because they want you to research. But what you can do now when you are writing the document, your reference list must have at least 15. But within the document, you can still, it doesn't mean that you use the reference once. You can use it as many times as you want. That's why last week I was telling you that make it a point that when you are writing a paragraph, it must have at least 3 in-text references. No matter how small the paragraph is, it must have at least, because you are showing your lecturer that I researched this information.
So and it's not verbatim, it's actually in your words and you paraphrase it and reference in it. Okay.
Yes.
Because the moment you copy it, then that becomes a plagiarism, and Turnitin will have a problem with that. So it's okay that you paraphrase it and reference. Okay.
Yes, that's actually the research. The research is you go find information, you write it in your own words, but you acknowledge that this is not my information because I am rewriting what I got from someone. So I got it from this guy. That's what you're just saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I also add something? Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. When I look at the referencing in terms of that training or the manual from Menkosa, they say if you have directly taken the word as it is, then you need to put it in exclamation or something, but in quotation mark, quotation, and then and then you put in the reference to show that you've taken the original Emma. It's not that
in inverted commas.
At all.
Yes.
Okay.
But my recommendation is try by all means never to do that.
Okay.
Because you know, sometimes, because remember, as students, we always want the easy way out. So someone might take a full paragraph and put inverted commas, right? And then put the reference at the end. So that type, because at the end of the day, they are testing your research skills. So in research, they are not just saying copy and paste, copy and paste. If there is a statement that you see, this, if I rephrase it, the point maybe might not really come out, but which is not the case most of the, if it was literature, yes, was literature, maybe you would want to take the exact words of the person. But when it comes maybe to this, like here, it's in IT, I don't know what type of statement will it be that you would really want in exact words. But I would recommend, what I would recommend to you guys is try to avoid using, you know, the inverted commas, unless it's the last resort of referencing. The reason why I'm telling you this is I am here not to make life harder for you, but I would want you guys to have distinctions in this course, because I've been dealing with the IKM for a while now, so I know things that your lecturer would want to see to give you 90%. I think if you are to get testimonials from people that we have assisted with assignments, right, they will tell you that they've gotten as high marks as 90, 98, 95, 90-something%, not only distinctions, but in 90s, right? Why? Because like I said, we already know what your lecturer wants. So the reason I'm telling you all this, right, is because I know if you implement it and you put the correct information, you will come and thank us when your results come. That I know. You come and thank us.
Yeah, I think for me, what you've just cleared up is very important, because we're doing the research. My problem would have been I would have incorrectly cited it.
Yeah.
Okay, and just the last question before we go on. So, like, if I'm if I found like that paragraph, those lines that you actually highlighted, and then in the same sentence reference the case study, am I allowed to cite, or does a cite have to be a statement that doesn't include the case study?
You can put the case study, because like I said, at the end of the day, like in this case, you can see this information might not be even talking about banks, but the thoughts might be still the same. Because remember, this is an IT system. So an IT system, maybe the only thing that is different is the data on which it is being used, right? So in our case study is data that is being used in relation to banking. Maybe in this way, I'm seeing a Durban City Council here. So maybe in this case, it was MIS being used in what? In a public sector.
Yeah.
But the concept, yeah.
Okay. No. Okay. And then one last thing. So with regards to the 5 years, you said 7 years, 5 years, can't be older than 5 years. For the other students on this call, where is that in the Mancosa handbook? Where did they stipulate that? Because I couldn't find it anywhere on the age of the articles you can reference.
Okay, what you can do is documentation. I can't really pinpoint, right?
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint. But what you can do, if you see that you can't find, it's not strictly within 5 years.
Okay.
But it's good practice, because you are saying the information you are citing is
current. Okay.
Right. But you can have maybe 3/4 or maybe half to 3/4 having citations that are more than 5. And then maybe like this one, you might find information that is really, really critical, which is around 2011. But don't, if like IKM, don't maybe go to as low as to 2000. It's totally outdated, that information. Because technology, it progresses. So the information that is closer to the year that you are writing that assignment, the more reliable the information. Okay,
I'm going to stop talking, but thank you. This was really helped clear a lot of things for me. Thank you.
Okay, all right, no, that's fine. Okay, so generally, this is how you research, right? So to go back, maybe you then open up a lot of what do you call it? A lot of articles just that you can review that will help you. That will help you with what? With that information. But like I said, the real purpose that we are doing this lecture is some of this information I've researched it for you. So you're not starting from scratch. Right. I've just given you, like what I said last week, something to give you a head start. So that you don't like literally start from nowhere. This is a head start. You can see that, okay, it's up to you. Maybe for definitions, you can leave it. But like primary task, you already know that, okay, so there must be differences in primary task. So you might not even write the way that I've written, right? You can just even go and research that what are the differences between MIS and DSS in terms of the tasks that they do. Are you seeing now that when you are researching, you're no longer like saying differences between MIS and DSS? That one is too broad. But when you go and say what are the differences between MIS and DSS in terms of the tasks that they do. So I've given you, like I said, that will be a head start. You already know maybe where to start to find information, rather than maybe starting from nowhere. You don't even know like the differences, but at least now I've told you that there are 5 differences. The differences are in tasks, in the data that it analyzes, and so forth and so on. So at least it's giving you a head start, so that when you go and research, you don't start from scratch. You're starting maybe halfway. All right, so continuing from where we left, right? Continuing from where we left. So I was talking about the data, right? The data we had managed to finish this one. Let's go to the next. Also the next one was what? A decision. The decision support capability, right? So the main difference between MIS and DSS is that MIS, right, it aids in structured decision making, right? So when I'm saying structured, it means maybe that the information that is being put in is more like it has been structured in a certain way that it, you know, it's maybe it has been, let me try to find the right word. It has been sorted in some way, right? So it's not starting from scratch from raw data, because remember, we are saying that it's the DSS, it uses raw data. You don't sort the data in any way, right? So MIS, in terms of decision support capabilities, it aids, right? Structured, when they're saying structured, it's information that is maybe already sorted out, right? And then it's not doing much of decision making. Maybe it's just checking, okay, this information that has been grouped together, this information that has been grouped together, and then it helps. But now, when it comes to DSS now, it's semi-structured choice. Like I said, it uses raw data. So it has to do much now, much of sorting the data, see maybe the patterns and so forth. And it has an intelligence, like a human way, it's starting with things that are not sorted at all. All right. So like we said, what we highlighted earlier on, that management information system, it produces reports, right? So the information might be, you know, compiled in form of reports. So you get a report from MIS that will help you in decision making. So it's information that you are getting from the MIS, a report that will assist you, you know what, in decision making. So whereas now DSS, it aids in making selections that have lead to no framework. You see, when the data is jumbled, it's raw, you know, the DSS has got the intelligence to bring those things together, right? And then bring out the decision. So that is the difference when it comes to decision support system. So the keywords is MIS, it uses what is called structured decision making, right? The information is already maybe sorted in some way, but for what? For decision now, it is little to no framework at all, right? It's basically, we're just saying it is raw, right? So that is the information regarding what? Regarding decision support capabilities, right? So the fourth one, I think it's the fourth, right? Yes, it's the fourth. Fourth or third, so it's what? The usage and the users. So using the MIS and the people that are using it. I think I once gave you an example, right? When I was talking about the hierarchy, and I said normally MIS, it's used by the middle management, right? I'm not so sure if I'll see maybe whether if I did put that information in this paragraph here, right? So middle management, it uses MIS. Then top management, they use what? DSS. Generally, that is the ideal situation, right? So let's see here. We are saying management information is a computer-based system that provides managers with the tool to organize and evaluate efficiently manage departments within an organization. So now we are talking about its use, right? What is the use of management information system? So you are using it to organize, you're using it to evaluate and efficiently manage departments. So what is it? Let me try to explain this point. We are saying that in a company, not everyone makes decisions. And in a company, there are different levels of managers. If you are to go to companies, maybe where there are workshops, they will tell you that there is a supervisor for this maybe flow. That supervisor, yes, the word supervisor may like look like maybe it's someone who doesn't have a rank, but that's a manager. That's an operational manager. A supervisor is an operational manager. You see. So what happens now is in some companies, they might have various departments, right? There might be a manager for HR, there might be a manager for sales, a manager for marketing, a manager for the guys at the production. Can you see? Different types of managers with different types of departments. So what happens now is the guys, the executives, your CTOs, your CEOs, your COOs, your CFOs, right? Those guys that, you know, you'll be saying the chief financial officer, the chief executive, the chief technological officer, and so forth, right? Those guys that are into executive positions, those are the guys that make the decisions of the company. When you get to a company, you see they'll say we've got what we call, you know, the mission, you know, the objective, you know, the goals, the aims. The people that structure that are the guys in the executive. So they will tell you for this season we have this goal that we need to achieve. So that goal, they will use a DSS system to maybe to make that decision. So the guys will give the information to the guys at the middle management, right? Which will then use now the management information system to dissipate information to various departments within the organization. Can you see now? So MIS is being used, right, to dissipate, to organize, to evaluate whatever information that comes from the top to various, because remember, the guys at the top does not deal directly with all departments. I think you guys, I don't know, like the hierarchies at the various companies you work, but from the way I understand, you won't see the CEO just knocking at the door of your office unless you are his immediate, right? You are just maybe his immediate to him. So those guys, when decisions are made by the CEO, they get to the middle management. The middle management are the guys that will tell the lower management to tell the guys at the floor. So the guys at the middle management, they will use MIS to dissipate that information to manage various departments. That's the use now. We're talking about the use of management information system, right? Now let's look at DSS. DSS now is a computer program, right, that analyzes business data and presents it that users can make business decisions more efficient, conveniently. So this one, there's no need to send it to various departments, right? Because there's only one type of people that can make decisions in a company. Those are the top executives. So DSS, in terms of usage, it is only used by the top management to generate, to help make decisions, right? So now, in terms of usage, again, we are saying MIS is focused on structured tasks, right? When you're talking about structured tasks, we are saying, we are now maybe separating the various tasks, right? Saying, oh, of course, this is the major objective that we want to achieve, but how do we split this major objective so that it suits the people from the HR, so that it suits the various areas of function of a business? You know, said, how does it suit the guys from the logistics? How does it suit the guys from the sales and so forth? So it is focused on structured tasks of various areas of functions of a business. Whereas now the DSS is focused on the unstructured tasks, right, to support the managerial judgment, right? Because remember, these guys at the decision, they come up with a decision, but they don't know how the decision is going to be made. Can you see? That's where now it's saying the unstructured task to support managerial judgment, because they don't know as yet how are we to achieve. They just say we want to have maybe this and this and this and this. They leave it to the other guys. to brainstorm and to think how they are going to make it possible, right? So MIS is dependent on computer expert, whereas DSS is dependent on the managerial judgment, right? Then MIS is about operational efficiency, whereas DSS is about making an effective decision. So MIS is all about the operations being efficient. That's why it's talking about structured tasks, right? So that the tasks that are done in various departments, they are done at an operational excellent state, right? Whereas DSS, it doesn't worry about the operational efficiency. It's all about making the effective decision that will be implemented at the operational level. Can you see, right? So the other thing is management information system. It processes a large volume of data to input and gives a summary. But I think that we did talk about it, right? So like what I was telling you, can you see that statement? MIS is used by middle and lower echelons of management. That's what I was trying to tell you, right? That is the hierarchy. So I did put it right. I was worried that I might not have put this right. So I did put it. So MIS is used by the middle and lower management. But DSS, remember, we're talking about the users. We're now talking about the users of the system. So middle and lower management, they're the ones that use the MIS. But DSS is only used by executives. Can you see this one? It's only used by executives. So I think that's the most important points there. Now let's talk about, you know, maybe the last point and the conclusion. The last point and the conclusion.
Can I ask a question while it's getting there?
Yeah.
One of the things that we need to note when we do this, we need to relate it to people's bank as well. Maybe give an example within that space. Just a heads up on that.
Yes. Yes.
Not only put the definition or explaining, not linking it to people's bank. We need to link it to that bank. Maybe put in examples where would it come in when it comes to making a decision whether to give someone loan or not, which one to use, that type of thing. But the question that I want to ask is a system like e-filing, whereby you've got information that is gathered and put together, and then you are also able to use a certain function where it will calculate for you whether you owe or you will get a refund. Is it used together in terms of MIS and DSS, or it's only MIS that is sitting there, or that decision of calculating it and telling you that you've got a credit, because that's where the decision is made, is that DSS coming through there? What's the difference, if I may ask? Okay.
So what you need to understand is there are various information systems in a company. So some of these systems that you may be given, for example, might not even be part of MIS or even part of a DSS. There's what they call a transaction processing system, right? There is what they call a human resource information system. So generally, in a bank, there might be various information systems that may be used, right? But like what I said, if you want to check whether it is an MIS or not, check the person who's using it. If it is a normal person who's not into management, chances of it being an MIS, it's very, very slim. It might be maybe a TPS, a transaction processing system, though maybe there might be decisions. Because remember, decisions, even the people that are on the ground, they also make decisions. Like let's take for an example in a bank, right? There are decisions that the teller has to make right? Maybe a person comes in. I know these days now, you know, I think the issue of tailors in banks, right, nowadays is being phased out, unless maybe a person wants to take out a big chunk of money. Let's just assume that maybe it's a person who wants to withdraw a lot of money. They go inside the bank, right, and they face a tailor and they're discussing. There are maybe certain things that the tailor, all right, might make a decision right there. That might not maybe need an immediate supervisor, right? It's part of his job. Then there are decisions that have to be made by the supervisor. Then there are again certain decisions that the supervisor can't make because is at a lower level. The middle management is going to do. So decisions still, there might be information systems that might want you to use decisions, but what we are talking about now is like the major decisions of decisions that affect maybe the entire organization, that will affect maybe the performance of the organization, that will affect the structure of the organization, that affect everything, right? Regardless of the department. There are decisions that maybe can be made in HR that may not affect the guys in sales. But these decisions that we're talking about now, these are decisions that affect everyone. So like what I was just trying to say is, if you want to check whether is it an MS, who is using that information system? If it is middle management, chances of it being an MIS, because remember, this is not a single software for all the companies. The people that make them they make them different based on the needs of the company, right? So you might get to two companies, then they'll tell you this is a management information system, and this is a management information system. Then you see that the interfaces, they're different, and maybe what they're doing are different, but at the end of the day, the concept behind is the same. So you have to check who is using like the level which is using like that information system. So if it is being used by the CEO, then it's a DSS. A DSS will not be used by middle management. I'm not so sure if I did really answer you on that one.
Definitely. Happiness.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know that. No, okay, that's fine. Okay, so like the other issue that you had highlighted, right? That here you had two options. You could have used like in relation to the bank, right? But like I said, you wouldn't go deep into like deeper much, because sometimes you might not even find the information, right, that might be used like specifically by banks in regards to MIS, because like I said, sometimes they differ depending with the company. So even if on this particular question, even if you generalized it, you were still going to make it. What you would need to do is maybe at a start, you just maybe just have to mention PCB here and there. But even if you generalized it for this particular question, it's still okay, because it's a report that you're giving. You are providing a report, right? So there might not be need for you to put PCB, because you are just comparing. Here you are comparing MIS and DSS, regardless whether they are used in in banking or not. You just want to see the difference between the two. So it's still okay. If someone is to answer this one without putting PCB, it's fine. But it will be good practice, like what you said, to put PCB. All right, so let's look at what the last one is, focus and database, right? So so MIS can be used with corporate databases. Databases is more like where you store in data, right? It's more like the electronic file system. You're talking about e-filing, right? So I'm not so sure if it involves, like, if it is the electronic part of, what do you call it, filing system. So, but that's what databases use. You know, when you had your file, you had like a file for each and every person, file for this, file for this, file. Then you would put in a cabinet. So the cabinet, the electronic cabinet, is a database, right? And then it will be having shelves, electronic shelves, where you are putting information for individual people. So MIS it can be used with corporate databases, and then DSS now, it requires a special type of a database for proper implementation, right? So so some of the stuff we're just repeating, right? We're just talking about, you know, it's mainly for decision making, and MIS it's for supporting internal operation, because that's the focus. We're talking about the focus. So the focus in this case is managerial discretion for DSS, and then the focus for MIS is to support internal operations, right? So basically that is the information regarding this section there, right? So the conclusion now, you just give a conclusion, what you're talking about, right? Like, for example, just saying, to sum up, MIS prioritizes operational efficiency, while DSS prioritizes sound decision making. So you're just giving now a conclusion to the person who's reading, that you can see that MIS is more focused in operations, whereas DSS is focused in decision making, right? And then that MIS, it's mainly for structured decision making, whereas now DSS is unstructured and semi-structured. So question 3, that's how you were going to do it, right? So question 4, the last one. Let's see. So here now they want you to find the limitations, right? So discuss any 5 possible limitations of the DSS in People's Choice Bank. So all of this, you wouldn't find it. You wouldn't find it in the study guide. You have to really do an extensive research to get most of this stuff, because it's not included in, you know, in the study guide. That's the reason why sometimes they give you case studies of stuff that might not be in the study guide, because they just want you to think outside the box, right? And to test your research capabilities. All right, so our introduction, we're just saying decision support systems can create advantages for organization and can have positive benefits. However, building and using DSS can have negative outcomes in some situations. So I'm trying to introduce the issues that there might be possible limitations, though there are various advantages, but also remember, it might be accompanied by limitations and disadvantages, right? So then you just maybe continue saying some other stuff, and then you have to introduce the reader to what you are going to be talking about in the document. So now let's look at the 5 limitations. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is monetary costs, right? Remember, we're talking about DSS only. So this thing is going to be costly, right? The decision support system, it requires a huge amount of investment, right? It is accompanied by high costs, because remember, for making a decision, you need enough data. So it means that you are going to invest in information system, right? A lot of information system to collect the data from various sources, because those guys, obviously the DSS, it relies on data. Remember, we're talking about it. It relies on data. And most of that data, maybe it's raw. So it's coming from another information system, right? It's generated maybe from the HR and information generated from sales. So all of it will be combined, brought in to the DSS. So because of that, there are high costs that are associated with setting up the system. Can you see? And with the advancement of technology, where IT systems are constantly changing, right? Then you see that it changes. So now bringing it now back to the issue of the banking, right? You are saying that this may increase the cost to the bank in the long run, right? Because remember, as technology is progressing, you need to also update. Just like people, each and every year comes iPhone 12, comes iPhone 13. What the phone do is still the same. You can still call, you can still go on WhatsApp, you see, but you still need those latest, those maybe the new camera, you see, maybe the faster processing system. Though you can still call, though you can still do whatever you could have done maybe 3 years back, but you still want the benefits that come with the new technology, right? So that's the same thing again, you see, because updating regularly the system, it will cost the bank in the long run, because setting up a DSS is associated with high costs. Right. So what you can see here is that some banking systems, instead of maybe buying their own DSS, they outsource. Outsource, it means you find a third-party company that you employ, and then they will do it for you. Rather than you buying, they will do it for you and you pay for them. Just like a person who employs maybe like a maid, a woman that works, right? They can see that because of time, when they come back at work, they might be so tired. You see, they might not be able to cook, right? They might not be able to wash clothes. Though, of course, they might be washing machines, but like gathering all the clothes and putting them in a washing machine and put them in a dryer, so it might be taking time and they might be tired. So what they do is they just say, let me just hire someone who specifically does that for me. A maid, that's the same thing, right? They'll just say, because the person will be saying it is costing me in terms of time. So the company will be saying it's costing us in terms of the money. So let's just find someone who can pay little, instead of us investing in the technology and try to update it. Someone will be doing it for us, but we'll be paying them little money. So that's the issue of outsourcing. So let's look at the security breaches, right? The limitations. So electronic information is highly prone to security breaches. So we're just talking about hackers. Because remember, normally these things to be working, they must also be, connected to the internet. So if it is a very big maybe company that may be having information that is very valuable, someone might want to hack the information, and then they'll tell the company, if you want us to release that information back to you, give us money in Bitcoin. You see, so there are security breaches, because remember, it's something that can be hacked, right? That's the other limitation. The other limitation is what? Is excessive dependence on the advancement of on the technological device, right? So we're talking about excessive dependence on technological devices. So DSS may help with the automation of complex business operations, especially for decision making, right? Which is good for PCB. But however, now all devices can fail at any time owing to the variety of circumstances. You see now. So the problem is, when you're saying excessive dependence, it means that where the CEO was supposed to be thinking They can't think, because most of the time the DSS is what? Is thinking, what if it one day decides to malfunction and there is a critical decision that needs to be made, right? So it means now people are excessively, that's why, yes, they must depend, but not excessively. Can you see? So when now it becomes excessive dependence, it becomes a limitation, because without, it's more like addiction, right? When someone is excessively dependent on what? On cocaine to feel good, it means that when I think the very good example is this nyaope guys, right? Once they are deprived, once they don't get the nyaope, right, they can't function quite well. That's the same thing, right? So if that device fails now, right, it means that the guys from the the executives will be affected. So the other one is difficulty in quantifying all the data. All right, so let's explain this one. So a decision support system majorly, right, relies on quantifiable data. When we're talking about quantifiable data, we're talking about data that you can like quantify. All right. So it's difficult to analyze intangible or indefinable data. So we're saying quantifiable data. It means it's data that you have to collect from somewhere, right? Maybe you quantify it and then you put it, maybe you transfer it from one system to the DSS. So now it has to, that's why we're saying it uses raw data. So there has to be like tangible data, right? It can't make a decision with intangible data, right? With maybe with intangible assets. There's what we call intellectual capital. We're talking about intangible assets and intangible data. So now a DSS, it majorly relies on quantified data. So, but now in reality, some values cannot be very specific, right? Some values cannot be specific. So if it is not in relation to quantifiable data, it means that this DSS might not be able to make a decision there, right? So that is now a major setback, right? Because it relies much on quantifiable data. All right, so there are three other. Let me just take one, the other one, but I left two other, right? I think I'll just put them later on when we send through this document, so that at least it will help you. How many did we need? Let me see the question. Did it give us 5? Okay. So system design failure. So decision support systems, they are designed to the specific needs of the decision maker. That's why I was telling you that sometimes the decision support system that may be used in company A and a decision support system that may be used at company B, though both of them, they help in terms of decision making processes, but they are tailored to the different needs, right? If you are to take a DSS from company A and you are to implement it in the company B, though it's to bring out decision, but it might not be able to do it because it is designed to specific needs. So if the bank manager doesn't know what they want a DSS to do or how it should help them, it will be difficult to design a system that fits their bank specific needs. Like I'm telling you, you can't take a DSS from bank A to bank B. It's just because we are banks. It will work. No, right? that there's a possibility of failure of system design, right? It has to be designed to suit specific needs of a decision maker. So that is a major setback. If you don't know what you want, they might not be able to design because it is designed based on your needs. So you should be able to bring out what you want to solve, what your needs are. Then the person who designed to say, oh, okay, now I understand, right? So there is that possibility, the setback of the system design failure. Let me see how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there are 5. So they are okay, but there are still 2 more. You still add them when we send through the document. So guys, roughly, I think that is how you are supposed to attempt your, what do you call it, your assignment. So you can see that question number 4, like I said, question number 4 now, you have to really apply it within the bank. That's why here we had to talk about PCB. But question 3, like I said, it was just a report. So it's up to you whether you would want to put PCB or not. You won't be wrong because you're just giving a report comparing 2 systems. So you're not comparing them in relation to the banking system. You are just comparing them in general. So if you want to compare them in the vicinity of banks, it's fine. But even if you compare them in generic sense, it's still okay because it's just comparison. Right? It's just comparison regardless of whether it's used in PCB or not. Okay. So I'm not so sure if there are any questions. Are there any questions?
Nothing from my side.
Okay, and then in terms of the last question that we have here, you don't have a conclusion.
Yes, I just didn't put it because I'm assuming that you already know that a full let me just show you my conclusion, right? It's just a full what do you call it, a full essay. So like here I'm just saying, in a nutshell, decision support systems, they rely on data that is inputted into the system. Hence there is issue of limited data. So we just bring out some of the issues, some of the limitations that we did talk about earlier on. So that will be maybe your one. But can you see that my conclusion is more than 4 lines long? Like I was telling you, it must be more than 4. So that will be the conclusion. Then after now, you put your what? You put your bibliograph. You see, your bibliograph. Then you put your page numbers and so forth. That part I'm not going to show you because I think everyone in here knows how to do that, right? So basically, this is the basics of how you're supposed to be doing your assignment. So I don't know if there's another question again, maybe regarding what we have covered so far.
Maybe on my side,
Okay.
no question.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I think we'll meet also when we do the project. So this was the case study. So all the best. Like I told you guys, it's quite possible to get 90s on this. I'm not just saying this is maybe just trying to market ourselves, but if you are to meet someone that has come through us in terms of IKM and you are to ask them, they'll tell you that, marks that they got are really impressive marks. So if you implement what I've been telling you, it might be too much for you. It might look like it's too much, but like I said, we want you guys to pass with flying colors at the end of the day. So all the best when you are writing your assignments.
Just one thing, like I'm looking at your screen, you've got a thing on the top that says insert citation, and you got style Harvard on your Word.
Oh,
Is
yes.
that a plugin? What is that?
Yes. Yeah. Last lecture, I was telling the other guys that there are two ways of putting in references. You can put it the manual way, or you can use Word. So when you go on Word, you come on the home tab, right? But there's what they call the references tab here. When you click on this section,
it's built into it. Oh, okay.
So when you come on manage sources, those sources that you were getting on Google Scholar, you can actually put them here using new. Then you choose the type of source that you want, journal article, and then you put the stuff. So when you're putting it one by one, it will be getting in like this current list, right? Like you see, it's placeholder too, because I didn't put much information, but it was, let's just assume that I did put, so all these citations, right? We did put it manually, like in. So the good part of it is when you are writing, you just, when you are writing this, right, you can just maybe come here and say reference, insert citation, then you choose, maybe we were using the stuff here that I wrote here is from this journal. Then I acknowledge the person. Then at the end of the day, I just come here, right? Let me just repeat. Let me just take this out. Right, I just come on bibliography. So here you choose the style, you use Harvard, right? And then you say bibliograph. So you choose whether you want to call it a bibliograph or a references or works cited. Let's choose references, right? Then when you do that, it automatically generates for you. So you don't have to check whether the italics, I know many times people, it confuses them, right? Yeah. So when you are using Word that does that for you. The only thing that you worry is looking for the citation, the references, and putting them in Word. But in terms of referencing, citing it, and the reference list, the Word will do it for you.
Okay. No.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. No, that's fine. I think if there are any other questions, I think maybe we can call it a night, and then maybe we'll see maybe each other when we do the project.
Thank you very much. When can we expect the recording?
Recording is I think just go to the group, because they can give you the link to immediately. They can give you the link to the Zoom, but the video itself, it will take time to load. So maybe by tomorrow. But the Zoom link to the video, you get it as soon as this meeting is over. All right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, bye.